Good morning, good evening, wherever you are. Welcome back to the Morning and Gym podcast. Today, we're going over a very important topic. It is how to find the direction in your life. We're drinking let me put the tea in first. If you're not on YouTube watching this, come over to YouTube and just chill with me for a bit. Grab a cup of tea, grab some honey, put a nice show on in the back, turn it down, and just chill with me. I got a nice playlist playing in the back. I'll link it below. And I got my puppy right there. So it's a beautiful time. And this amazing city view. So I'm gonna put the tea in. I got this Chinese house tea, which is whenever you go to a Chinese restaurant, it's a tea that they give you, which is like an oolong tea. It's so good. So I'm gonna put the tea in and the honey in. But today is going to be a really good podcast. And just sit back, take notes, and be introspective. Think about the questions that I'm going to ask you. Think about the direction of where this podcast is going to go, and just let your intuition be. What I mean by let your intuition be is ask yourself, hey, does this feel good? Is the content that Leo's saying feel good? Does it make sense? Do I agree with it? Do I disagree with it? And if you do agree with it, if you do feel good in it and your intuition is saying, okay, listen to this and maybe take some action on it, then do so. Allow yourself to do so. When you allow your intuition to be strong and present in every moment, it allows you to make decisions in a much stronger and thought out way. That's a lot of honey. That is a lot of honey. So just let your intuition be today. And we're going to dive in to how to find the direction in your life. So what really inspired this podcast was actually a really close friend of mine that is super smart. He knows how to make money. He knows how to live his life, but he lacks the direction in his life that gives him the clarity and gives him the power to feel like every day is progress. Tony Robbins says that progress equals happiness, and it's something that I studied within my life and my students' life for the past 2 years. And it's true to the point in my life where every single time I progress in a certain area, for example, my health and fitness, when I hit a PR, it makes me so happy, right? One, because it's an instant feeling of success and moving forward. And then also, it is the hype that I have around me. My friends see that I hit a PR, right? I get to be able to have some bragging rights. Oh, I just hit, 205 or however much on a bench press. The same progress goes to my business. Whenever we hit our revenue goal, I get to celebrate that. I get to celebrate that with my team, and I get to feel accomplished within myself because we're progressing, and I get to make more money, more income for myself. And my team gets to make more income, and we get to impact more lives. And what I realize is this progress happens in every aspect of our lives, and it gives us happiness. It gives us sense of fulfillment. Really, our main human desire is that fulfillment, is significance, is the happiness that we feel on a day-to-day basis. And these are things that I studied for myself and really looked into and asked myself, why is it that progress makes me feel so good? And you might ask yourself, when do I feel the best? Is it with, when you're with friends, with family? Is it when you hit a PR, right? Is it because you're progressing towards something? Just ask yourself those questions, and it gives you that sense of knowing, right? And this is what this podcast is about, is giving you new ideas to think about, giving you new philosophies to think on throughout the day, but also really having the action steps to actually set forth in finding a direction. That's what I like to do. That's what I do for a living. I have a lot of students who come to me and ask, Leo, I'm stuck here. I want to get here, right? I have a goal of making $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 a month, but I'm here. And I always ask them, why do you want that? right? Why do you want to get here first? If they can answer that and they give me why, then I ask them, who do you need to become in order to get to this place, right? Because who you are now is not capable of getting to this $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 a month. Obviously, because you haven't gotten it yet. So who do you need to rise up? Who do you need to become in order to receive that? That's always a super simple way of explaining things. And this all comes with understanding the direction, because this right here, and for those who are not on YouTube, I'm raising my hand up higher than my left hand. So your right hand, which is higher, is a direction in your life. If you don't have that, you don't have the destination. And without the destination, there's nothing to put into the GPS. And this is what I'm telling you guys. This is the direction that I want you to be able to have. I want you to know the destination, have the GPS, and be able to go clear in that direction every single day. So let's start. So the thing that we need to understand first is our values, our passions, and what we are naturally good at. Everything starts back to the values, because it is the foundation at which we make every decision in our life, and it's the foundation of which we live our lives. It's something you could always hold on to and always have with you as the core of who you are. For example, 3 of my main values is confidence, is clarity, and is consistency. Those are 3 of my values. And I'll explain confidence in this way. My mom always instilled confidence in me because she was so confident. She had a main value of confidence where she only wanted people who had confidence around her. And she wanted to be able to portray that confidence to other people because 1, it lifted us up, it lifted the kids up, but 2, it makes people feel good when you're confident in yourself. Because one of the loudest diseases, one of the most destructive things is insecurity. And most of the world is insecure. That's why you see so much hatred. But when you can exchange that for confidence and love, and I added love into that because it's another one of my values, then that is how I live. That is the foundation of how I live. I ask myself the question, am I being confident? Am I being loving today? In this conversation with you right now, am I being confident? Am I being loving? I shot this podcast probably 4 times before I actually got this far. And I realized I wasn't being confident and I wasn't being loving towards myself. So I wasn't living true to my values. But I was able to sit back and say, hey, Leo, who are you and who are you trying to become? Is this the right way to be doing this right now? So I sit back and say, hey, Leo, my values are confidence and love. Let's practice that today. And, I shot this podcast with that reminder. And now I'm able to be confident, sit straight, say my words confidently and understand that you will receive my words with confidence and also be very loving to myself during this process. Of course, be very loving to you. That's kind of just how I am when I talk to people. But it's so important to how do I talk to myself in these moments? So how do you start with your values? Everything is going to lead to the questions that you ask yourself. When you ask yourself a question, you will get the output, you will get the answer. So just start with, what are my values? What is it? What do I appreciate about other people's values? What do I value about other people? What do I value about X, Y, Z? And then start to write those things down. That begins to be your foundation. What always helps me is I get ideas from other people, or I get ideas from the internet. I ask 10 values that other people have, or what are the top 10 values? And you just read some of those and you ask yourself, okay, love, integrity, confidence, do I match with these? Is this something I live by? Are these my values? So once you have that down, it goes to your passion. You know, in high school and middle school, when we're playing sports, we think we're very passionate about these sports. You know, we practice it, we play it on a daily basis. But once we get older, we realize that's no longer our passion, or it wasn't, you know, genuinely something we're passionate about every day, where we want to continue it. However, part of that sport you were very passionate about, whether it was competition, whether it was leadership, maybe you were a captain, maybe it is the progress that you guys made, maybe it's the training, whatever part of that sport or academic activity or extracurricular that you were a part of, what was it that you were passionate about? That's another question that I had to ask myself, because, you know, I liked sports, but it's not that I wasn't good at it, I just wouldn't practice. I hated practicing, and I did not like my coaches. I didn't like being told what to do, right? But what I did love was winning. I love to win. I really, really, really love to win. So that's something I'm passionate about, is getting so good at something where you just win. And I really liked to sell as a kid. You know, I didn't sell drugs, but when I was 10, I would buy candy for about $5. I would buy the chamoys, the Mexican candies, about 30 of them, 5-pack for 30. No, 30-pack for 5. And I would go back to my school and I would sell them all for $1. So I would flip a $5 bill to a $30, $25 profit. I'll take that 25, do it again. I loved that hustle. That is something I'm passionate about today, is selling, is creating value, is hustling. Those things I'm super, super passionate about. When I was 13, I built my first company. It was actually on a game called Minecraft. I built a server and I sold there. I sold diamonds, I sold name tags, and I sold the ability to fly. You know, kids would go on, they would join the server, I would build a community around it, and eventually they would want more perks. So I gave them the perks to be able to purchase. To be able to fly, it was $20. A pack of 16 diamonds was $2.99. And people would be buying that. I made my first $1,000. I used that to continue building a community. I had a team of staff that I was able to be a leader on. And I was able to manage money and learn how to flip that money. Those things I am incredibly passionate about. Was I passionate about building a server on Minecraft when I was younger? At the moment, I thought so. Today, I'm not. But what I am passionate about is the leadership, is building revenue, is doing sales. So what do I do today? You know, I have an education company where I lead a team of amazing, amazing leaders, amazing coaches, and just great people, part of my culture. And I lead a large group of students who are all real estate investors and entrepreneurs who are buying houses and getting to a freedom number, a freedom goal. I work with a partner who's amazing, who's bought over 500 houses, who's helped me buy over $2 million worth of real estate now. And I was able to take the passions of when I was 13, recognize them, and now it's built 7 years later into this business I have today. And it's growing into something so beautiful where I get to progress, I get to use my values in it, I get to see my passion on a day-to-day basis, and I have the direction for where I want this company to go, and the direction of where I see my life going. So what I want you to realize is you have yourself that you can research from when you were 5, from when you were 10, 15, however old you are, and ask yourself the questions of what was I passionate about in that moment? Or what about this was I passionate about? And in the happiest moments, what did I enjoy about this? These questions will lead you on such a path of clarity and of self-discovery. Little sidetrack here. If you're on YouTube again, you're watching me in a very calm state with tea, with my dog, with a playlist. And when I'm in a mode like this, in a space and environment like this, I can think about these things. I can look back to my teenage self and ask myself these questions. But if I'm on my phone all day, scrolling, if I'm constantly on FaceTime or I'm out partying, or if I'm intoxicated, all these things, I will not even get the chance for 1 second to be able to think back on this. But sometimes, guys, this is the most important thing you could do, is just spend 5 minutes. Spend 5 minutes with yourself and ask yourself these super important questions. My mentor always tells me your downtime determines your uptime. The times where you're just chilling, silence with yourself, it's really the time to ask yourself these questions and build that relationship with yourself. There's so many things we can go over, but I want to be able to tell you that in this world that we live in, with social media, with all the programming that's going on, all politics, all this craziness that's going on, it's so loud, it's so noisy, and it makes it very hard for us to be able to focus on this. And also, with the world of AI, the world of social media, with the world of new age business, there's 16, 17, 18, 19-year-olds making millions of dollars, and they're showing it. They're putting it out in your face. Blessings to them, because they're making money off of that and they're building for themselves. But what does that do to you when you're scrolling on social media and telling yourself, wow, there's a loud car? When you're telling yourself there's this 20-year-old who's, making more money than I am, what does that mean for me? Right? Am I not enough? Am I not doing enough? Am I not good enough, smart enough, handsome enough to be able to do that? And you constantly beat yourself down. And now you're at this place where you're looking around your house or looking around, your job, and you hate where you are. And it starts to become a downward spiral of not enjoying the life that you have and not being grateful for what you have. So I want to be able to tell you that it's okay to be where you are. It's okay to be where you are, because we are where we are for a reason. To learn the lessons that we have to learn to be able to get to where we want to be. But if you don't know where you want to be yet, there's no blessings to be given. For me, I have a very strong faith in God. That's my belief, is, the law of attraction, God, kind of similar sphere there, that you're blessed when you know the direction in your life and you're grateful for what you have. Because I always knew this, that if I'm not grateful for what's in front of me and what's been given to me when I'm here, how am I going to be blessed with more? How am I going to be given more? Because he knows that I can't be grateful for those things either. So you have to be able to sit down where you are and be grateful for what you have. And I did this every single year of where I was when I was living at my parents' house. And, so much shit was going on. My parents were going through a lot. I was struggling financially. I was struggling in so many different ways, but I was able to sit down and be like, thank you for the roof over my head. Thank you for this glass of water. Thank you for all these things. And what happens is I start to get really, really thankful and grateful for what I have today. And that puts me in a state where I can work and I can grow and I can align myself with the future self, with the me in 5 years, because I know that I'm going to be grateful for everything I have. And I know that person is going to be in a happier place and might have more assets, might have more material things, but the gratitude is going to be the same. The breath is going to be the same. The thoughts are going to be a little bit stronger, but I can be that person today, just not having the material assets around me. But that all comes from knowing my direction in life. And part of knowing your direction in your life is knowing your future self. Because your future self exists. Something that I was never able to conceptualize is that people think that the future you does not exist, but a second later they're there. Because next year you're going to be somewhere. You're going to be alive. You're going to be, God willing, you're going to be alive in a place, wherever that may be. But If you can understand that your future self in a year is going to be there, then your future self in 5 years is going to be somewhere as well. So you can set yourself up to be there, but also you can borrow who that person is. And I'll talk about that on another podcast because I could talk about that for hours. So consider your future self. What type of person do you want to become? Are you the man or woman that you want to be today? Are you the man or woman that you want to be today? And who is the man or woman? Who is the person that you want to become? Are you a strong leader who's making 7 figures and being able to feed your family, feed kids, run charity events, build awesome companies, travel the world, speak different languages? Is that the type of person that you want to become? Or do you want to work a blue-collar job? Do you want to just raise 2 kids and be able to travel a few times a year, once a year, however much? But who is it that you want to become? Guys, we have the right, the spiritual right, the human right to be able to say, this is who I want to become, and I will get there. Now, the only thing that holds you back is understanding, how do I get there? When you can break it down in this way, things start to get a lot more clear. And it was not clear to me overnight. I heard this over and over again on podcasts. I used to work at the post office. I worked the graveyard shift from 4 a.m. to noon. And I would wake up at 2. I would do my morning routine. I would get to the actual post office, which is about 10 minutes away. And I would be working there with my AirPods in, listening to a podcast like you're listening to today. And I would hear all this stuff. But what I realized is I didn't understand it in that moment, and I didn't want to understand it in that moment. I didn't accept it in that moment. It wasn't until 90 days later, I finally asked myself the question, who is it that I want to become? Right? What sort of person are my kids going to eventually look up to? Who is the person that my younger self needs? That's a good one. Who is the type of person that my younger self needed? Be that person. Develop into that person. And understand that you don't exactly need to know the step-by-step process to do that. You just have to know who that person is, because you're going to be blessed with the information on how to do so. And with this podcast, I want to be able to share with you how to do that. If you want to become someone who's a leader, if you want to become someone who is strong and passionate in their word and unapologetic of who they are and is making very strong income, building a strong business with a strong team, with a strong family, with strong values, if that's the type of person you want to become, continue listening to this podcast and be with me there. Be with me as I'm growing, because I'm growing into that person every single day, and I'm very unapologetic about it. So I want you to be able to follow someone who has that same value as you. And if that's so, then continue watching. So as you consider your future self, as you're thinking about your values, your passions, and thinking about what you're good at now, start to experiment. I'm going to write that down. It's really big. Start to experiment. What does this mean? In order to know more about who you are and what you like and what you're passionate about and what your values are, you have to put yourself out there, and you have to do things. You have to travel. You have to see new things. You have to fail. You have to succeed. You have to meet new people. You have to meet bad people. You have to meet good people, because every single one of these things is introspection and is a lesson that's going to teach you more about who you are. That's what they always say, move out of your house. Right? Get away from your hometown. When I was 18, I moved to Scottsdale, Arizona for about 6 months. I was building my business. I failed the business. My car blew up and I drove back home. I failed, but it's okay. I accept that failure. But guess what? I would not have wanted it to be any other way, because how much I learned about myself, the experiences I had, the values that I learned, the passion that I grew, and everything that I learned about being a man, being a leader, and being a successful entrepreneur. That all leads me to who I am today because I did those experiences. I worked 4 different jobs when I was 16 through 17. No, 16 through 18. For 2 years, I worked W-2 jobs. I worked at In-N-Out Burger. I worked with my cousins. Try not to work with family. It sucks. If my cousins are watching. I worked at the post office and I worked at Lululemon. Lululemon was the last job I ever worked at until I started my business and I became an entrepreneur full time. And I would not change any of that for anything because of everything I learned. It's not about where you are right now. It's about zooming out and understanding where that's going to lead to. Because we think that every day needs to be perfect and every day needs to be, astronomically successful for us to get there, to that future self. But really, it's just step by step by step, every step of the way, and you're going to reach your destination. But I promise you, once you reach your destination, it's not going to be a big party and a big celebration in your mind and your heart as if you made it. That feeling comes gradually throughout the journey, throughout the process. And it comes when you have those memories sitting back and looking like, wow, I built that company when I was 16 and I failed here. And I had that experience when I was, 18, when I moved to Arizona. I was so scared. I had a girlfriend at the time where I tried long distance and all these things. It's about sitting back in that experience. The journey is really the most beautiful thing. And I can tell you now, I've created a lot of success for myself. I've hit 1 million followers on TikTok. And I bought over $1 million worth of real estate and I own $1 million company and I'm building that. I'm at the place where I wanted to be when I was 15. But once I'm here, it's not the fact that I'm here that's the beautiful thing. It was everything that led up to it and all the lessons that I learned coming up to this point. Because now I can use all that to do bigger and better things that move me towards a newer direction. Because once you get to your destination, you're always going to move to another destination. And you're always going to move to another destination. Right? If you're driving cross country in the United States and you choose a location, wherever it may be. Maybe it's, let's go from California to Washington, right? Well, let's go Seattle. I know Seattle more, just a quick 10-hour drive. It's not necessarily getting to Seattle that's the most beautiful thing, right? It's not the goal, is not the whole entire goal of the destination, not the beauty of the destination. While you're driving, you get to see all these sights, you get to see all these views, and this is not the greatest example because the drive to Seattle actually isn't that beautiful. But what I'm trying to say is that you have to be able to sit back and enjoy every moment of getting to the destination, because there's going to be times where you're let down when you actually make it. And that's when people get the most depressed, is because they think life is going to change once you get somewhere. But it's not once you get there, life's going to change. It's a gradual change as you're leading to that direction. So, nothing is going to change in your life by just thinking about it, by just listening to this podcast and thinking. This is where the actual action comes in. This is where actually trying things and experimenting and seeing what's sticking, that is when the actual change starts to occur. Both in your mind, in your physical, and your spiritual, that's when things actually start to make a change. So if we were to wrap the last however long I talked, all those things is essentially define what your values are, define what you're passionate about, define what you're good at, and then define where you want to go, who the person is that you want to become. Once you know those 4 things, experiment everything. For the next 90 days, try every business. Fail at 5 businesses. Go invest here and go invest there. Go educate yourself on this new skill. Go learn a new language. Go travel to these different places. And if your mind goes straight to, I don't have enough money, then for the next 90 days, do everything you can in this matter to make as much money as you can, and then go spend it or invest it and do all these things that just give you the life experience. And don't be afraid to spend money. Don't be afraid to take risks, especially if you're at a place where you don't have kids, or you don't have a wife, or you don't have a husband, or you don't have these major obligations. And if you do, create space in your life to be able to have that time to go travel, have that time to go explore, to take risks. Because if you're sitting on your deathbed, and this gets me every single time, if you're sitting on your deathbed and you look back to what could have been, that's going to be the most disastrous thing and poisonous thing to your mind and to your entire existence of your life. Is if you sit back and you think about what could have been and all the regrets and all the travel you put away because you wanted to make extra money. I get it if you have a family to feed. You can feed that family. You can make sure they have enough money, right? You can hustle to make sure they're fed, and you can also make more money for you to go travel, for you to go invest, for you to go build that business that you want to build. There's no excuses because you see people with the worst circumstances every single day making it and building a life for themselves. So just reflect on yourself and ask yourself, what does this mean to me, and what can I start doing today to start making that change? Because when you do that, answers are going to pop up. And you're going to be able to serve people, you're going to be able to love others, and you're going to be able to create a world where you feel so passionate every single day. I'm so passionate about this because I see what it can do for people, and I see what it's done for me. And the life that I have today is a happy, peaceful place. But I also know that I have a massive vision and a massive direction that I'm leading to. This is why I'm building a podcast. This is why, I'm building this company, and I'm continually growing as a man and a leader and a CEO and the person that I want to become to be able to get there. Because I know that vision that I want to be, that person in 5 years, 10 years that I want to be, who I am right now is not able to achieve those goals, is not able to have the $20 million in assets that I know he will have. And I am so happy about how much growth there is to come and how much progress there is to be made, because I know the journey is so beautiful on the way there. I know all the progress I get to make in that journey, and knowing that I get to sit back, remove stress, remove negativity, remove toxic people from my life, and just enjoy the absolute fuck out of this ride. Because we only get this one life to be able to live. We only get this one chance to be in this flesh, to be in this dimension, this world, whatever you want to call it. So I'm going to take every single minute, every single second, every single day to the absolute fullest. And I'm not going to spend a minute feeling sorry about myself and feeling insecure and feeling lower because of other people's insecurities. And you shouldn't either. This is the culture at which we're living. I want the best for you, and I'm going to lead you in the best way that I can. This podcast is to help you with introspection, is to help you take action, and to help inspire you into understanding these concepts. I want you to be able to share this out with the people that you love, and share this out with the people that you want to hear this stuff from. If you feel your intuition, like I said in the beginning, if you feel like this stuff will help, if this will give you a new direction. And if you think about this, anything I say again after today, hit me up on Instagram and let me know that, because it allows me to see what it's helping you do. And if in 90 days you make a huge change and you think about something I said today, also let me know. My Instagram is ITS Leo Valentino. I make this podcast for you. I want you to win. I'm here for you to win. And I can promise you, I'm spending every single day becoming the best person I can be, so I can give you everything you need to also be able to do that and be able to create a life of amazing balance, of strong family values, of strong relationships, fun, travel, all these beautiful things. And me unapologetically being myself and unapologetically building this culture, I can assure you that I'm here to stay. And the information I give you is going to be able to help you. So I hope you enjoyed this podcast. Leave a comment below, share this out, and I'll see you on the next one.